Lately, there's been a lot of buzz around Jackson Wang, and many of his fans are wondering what is going on with him. From being a successful singer, managing his own record label Team Wang, and recently being a mentor to a new girl group Genies, Jackson has a lot on his plate and often keeps himself busy with new projects. Despite his celebrity status though, Jackson never shied away from being honest and open about what it's like to live in constant spotlight. He lights up any public event he attends with his charisma and dazzling personality, but there's a side to him that's much more vulnerable. Battling the fear of loneliness in the early stages of his career, Jackson grew accustomed to being by himself over the years. While it's definitely tough sometimes to feel like it's just you against the world, Jackson found peace in solitude and could calmly and effectively explore his creative ideas. In an interview with Harper's Bazaar China, Jackson delved into the topic of loneliness. He shared that embracing his loneliness gave him a chance to explore his deepest emotions, which then became inspiration for his creations and written into his works. Being constantly surrounded by people doesn't mean initiating new friendships is easy. For Jackson, finding genuine friends is a difficult task, especially if people are in the entertainment industry. Jackson explained, "Because what I experienced in this industry over the years is that when I make friends, I don't know whether I am making friends with the person themselves, or with their team, or with their fans." Throughout the years, Jackson's learned to accept the fact and prefers to be by himself now, mainly because he knows he can trust himself and rely on himself, as it can be tough to trust other people, especially when they might not have the best intentions. Jackson openly admits he isn't always the easiest person to be around, as there have been many times when he lost his temper and got emotional and irritable. He's still a human being after all, who can make mistakes and bad decisions at times despite having the best intentions. Some idols tend to keep their struggles to themselves, but many fans agree that when they do open up about going through tough times, it gives them a source of hope for a better tomorrow. In November of 2022, Jackson revealed he was at his all-time low for over a year. Following the release of his album Magic Man, Jackson was a guest in one of the episodes of Aaron Nam's podcast Daebak Show, where he shared the truth about his declining mental health. The singer shared, "I was lost. Everything felt like a loop. Every word, every people that I meet, every word they say to me, everything felt the same." Jackson admitted that this loop gave him the life he has right now, but it was a matter of staying greedy and holding on to those luxuries and fortune, or being true to himself for once in his life, and being open to his audience so his fans know the real Jackson Wang they're supporting. Jackson's headspace got so bad that he started to isolate himself, even pushing away his team and telling them to stop talking to him. It surely was a difficult decision since so many people depended on him, not only his own team, but his parents as well. During the podcast, Jackson shared a heartbreaking story about leaving one light on in his house every time he traveled abroad. To him, the light was a symbol of comfort, something he, for once, could depend on. Both Eric and Jackson agreed that while being a celebrity looks dazzling and glamorous on the outside, there's a huge pressure to constantly keep working and provide for people. During this time, Jackson realized that not everyone around him is going to have the same ideas as him, and he shouldn't have those expectations towards them. This realization led to Jackson having no contact with all the people around him for a year and a half to submerge himself in what he loves doing the most, creating art. The Magic Man album is a product of these tough times, as it served as an outlet for Jackson to process what he was going through at the time. On a brighter note, Jackson realized during the slump that it was okay to say that he wasn't doing so well and even reach out for help. Following the release of his album, Jackson embarked on his first ever solo world tour, the Magic Man World Tour. Jackson proved himself to be an outstanding performer and gave every single fan attending one of his shows an experience that would last a lifetime. Because this album was such a personal creation for Jackson, it's no wonder emotions ran wild throughout the shows. During the third show date in Bangkok, Jackson was seen crying while performing the song Blue before he opened up about being his authentic self, free from all the labels and boxes people put him in. Jackson shared how there've always been filters and labels in front of him, categorizing him into something he wasn't. Constantly feeling as if people are trying to censor who you really are can make a person feel very repressed, and as if people won't like them if they don't fit into the boxes people made for them. Unfortunately, it's a sad reality for many idols who might feel like they have to trade their authenticity for love and support from their fans. Maybe it was the combination of everything that led Jackson to eventually turn to alcohol as a means to escape the tough reality. His unhealthy coping habit reached its peak during the time Jackson isolated himself. In the episode of Eric Nam's podcast, Jackson opened up about the habit a little more and said, "I was home, I was drinking by myself every day to a time that I couldn't breathe." His fans, knowing that Jackson would drink almost to the point of passing out, were rightfully worried. Jackson's consumption of alcohol became a hot topic among netizens on various online forums, and the debate got heated when Jackson was seen consuming alcohol during his shows as well. During the live performance of fans' favorite song Champagne Cool, Jackson would often bring a bottle of champagne on stage, taking a huge swig of the drink while letting letting the rest of it pour out onto his clothes. When Jackson became an ambassador for the famous whiskey brand Hennessy, he would swap champagne for a bottle of said liquor. He was often seen bringing the bottle on stage, clearly promoting the brand while performing. However, eagle-eyed fans noticed that the alcohol would mostly end up on Jackson's clothes rather than in his mouth, such as when he poured the drink all over himself during his Coachella performance. Knowing Jackson's history with alcohol, fans started to express their worries for Jackson's health. Not only did he use alcohol as a coping mechanism, but he also shared that he used to drink mutai, a very strong Chinese traditional liquor, to sleep better at night. In July of 2023, a video of Jackson chugging mutai straight from the bottle as if it were water went viral online. Mind you, the alcohol percentage in this drink is around 38%, but Jackson was still able to drink it as if there was no alcohol at all. While some people were impressed with Jackson's drinking skills, which he inherited from his father, who could always hold his liquor very well, some were more than disappointed. One fan wrote, "The party animal reputation he has created for himself? Does no one see a problem with this?" Another fan expressed their disappointment, saying Jackson's behavior was unacceptable, adding that idols are expected not to drink, smoke, or party. It goes without saying that this is exactly what Jackson stands against, being told what to do and being put into a box that would fit everyone's perfect narrative. One fan summed up what Jackson's been trying to achieve by emphasizing that Jackson now wants to be seen as an artist and not an idol, and how he doesn't want to be worshipped for doing certain things. Some fans swept it under the rug, linking Jackson drinking alcohol to his Hennessy sponsorship, but others were not so forgiving. One fan on Reddit commented on how they don't really care if Jackson wants to drink every day because he is an adult, but doing it in public, especially during shows, feels very off-putting. The fan claimed there is space for everything, and drinking this much isn't what they expect to see during a concert. Another one wrote, "I've seen him with alcohol and hammered a little too much to be unconcerned at this point. Now when I see him, I associate him with drinking. Not the best association to have as a professional of any sort." Other fans shared how it's not very uncommon to see Western artists drink alcohol on stage or be under the influence while performing. Jackson didn't appear to be drunk at any of his shows, and most of the alcohol ended up on the floor anyway. Another fan linked the alcohol to Jackson's Magic Man vibes and visuals. Using alcohol as a part of the show could be Jackson simply promoting the brand sponsoring him, further enhancing the raw and vulnerable nature of the group. Many fans commented that it's not good to psychoanalyze a person without knowing the true intentions of his actions. It's worth mentioning that Jackson seems very happy and secure in his current position as an artist and in his career, which could be the reason why he felt comfortable sharing his future plans. In May of 2024, when Jackson was a guest at the variety show Star Trail, the singer started to hint at possible retirement within the next few years. In an interview with the variety show, Jackson reflected on his last 10 years in the industry and why he's been considering leaving. Jackson made the shocking revelation that he doesn't see himself still working in the industry in the next 10 years. Because of his career and his fame, Jackson had to make certain sacrifices for things that seem ordinary to most people. The singer said, "I feel like I've been inside a machine in the last 9 to 10 years. It's like a long marathon. I keep running and I don't enjoy or feel the environment around me." Jackson added that he missed out on a lot of things because he felt like he was constantly in motion. Since he celebrated his 30th birthday this year, he wants to slow things down and enjoy living in the moment. Loneliness and feeling like you don't belong to any place are some of the costs of being a celebrity, and Jackson had a hard time dealing with that. He opened up about longing for a home where all of his loved ones are present, something he hasn't had for the past 10 years due to constantly traveling across the world. Jackson sadly admitted that sometimes being back home feels like living in a hotel room. So, to feel more secure in his turbulent lifestyle, Jackson gave himself a goal: to find love and settle down by the time he was 35, although he isn't in any rush right now. He spent the last 10 years in an environment that can be intensely comparative and draining. Combined with social media, who are just as cutthroat and unforgiving, Jackson's feelings of losing his true self are no surprise. When Star Trail's host protested and suggested Jackson's fans would be upset, Jackson was quick to defend himself and say that this is his choice and his life. He added that all he wants to do is live and create since his creations are his strength, and he doesn't have the desire to just be in the limelight. His words expressed Jackson's desire for artistic freedom over fame. Jackson managed to set a good boundary for himself, that even if he might disappoint some fans, he was ready to take a step back from the spotlight to focus on his passion for creating. No matter the direction he chooses for himself, we'll be right here cheering him on.